Ellard calls for the fair catch, and he makes it at the 20-yard line. A 35-yard punt, but the Raiders trail 10-0, and the trade Schrader for Lachey doesn't look good right at this moment. Things could change, though. Here, Dick Stockton and Dan Fouts, and they say that turnovers can kill you. Well, not so for the Rams, because following the 6 turnovers this year, they have not allowed the opposition to score.
That's a very healthy sign for your football team. That means your defense feels, hey, listen, we can make up for your mistakes. We're going to take care of things. We're going to win ball games for you.
What a breather for the offense. First and 10 Rams on their 21-yard line, leading 10-0. Up the middle is Greg Bell to the 25-yard line, a gain of 4. Other scores, Minnesota beating Chicago. Most of these are finals. We have several games still underway. In our game, Greg Bell went over from 6 yards out to give the Rams a 7-0 lead in the first quarter when they went 80 yards on 11 plays. Mike Lansford has kicked a 37-yard field goal to account for the scoring. 2nd and 6 at the 25. Here's Gaston Green. UCLA rookie gets maybe a yard on the play. Jerry Robinson on the stop. Other scores, Washington winning. Unusual 5-3 score. There was a safety there. A safety also in the Steeler game today in Cincinnati.
And the Chargers are beating up the Seattle Seahawks. That is an upset so far.
And Boston over New York in the American League. A 6.5 game lead for the Red Sox in the American League East. It'll be 3rd and 5 for the Rams, with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first half. McGee and Del Pino are the setbacks as Bell gets a breather along with Green. Everett's pass is caught by Del Pino. Good pass, but he's shy of a first down by a couple of yards. Dennis Price making the stop. And that'll bring up 4th down, and so Rich Camarillo will come in to kick as you see the time under 3 minutes to go.
Very conservative play calling by the Rams that time. Towards the end of the first half, you'd expect them to open it up and try to move the ball down the field, but they're more concerned with field position at this time.
Tim Brown is back. Let's see if he can return one. A beautiful kick by Camarillo sends Brown back inside his 20. And Tim Brown stopped at the 33-yard line. A 52-yard kick by Rich Camarillo. Dale Hatcher, the regular kicker, has been hurt. And Timmy Brown returns that 13 yards. Well, coming up at halftime, Brent Erb and Dick Butkus will have scores and highlights for you. And there are a lot of highlights and scores to bring you up to date on the action on this 3rd weekend of the NFL.
You notice Tim Brown was wearing number 81 there. He had come into camp this year as number 85, but number 85 was now worn by Andy Parker. When you're the 3rd-string tight end and they bring a Heisman Trophy winner in there, that Heisman Trophy winner gets the number.
I suppose. First down at the 32 for the Raiders, trailing 10-0. Marcus Allen, penalty marker down as Allen fires out to the 37-yard line. Carl Eckert and Vince Newsom on the stop.
Pretty easy to predict what this penalty is going to be. Thrown by the umpire at the offensive line.
You know, Jay Schrader may and probably will see action, I would think, in this game. Although we don't know for sure, but the problem's been the offensive line.
Yeah, Berline.
Number 51, offense, still first down.
Bill Lewis, the center, but Berline, as he pointed out,
he's playing pretty well. He's completed 7 of 13 for 105 yards. He has not got the type of pass protection that you need. But what Shanahan's concerned with is how is his offense functioning, and will Jay Schrader add anything to it? Maybe he'll add the little bit more mobility because they're having a tremendously hard time of blocking the Rams front line.
First down 20 for the Raiders on the 22. Steve Smith to the 26, 27-yard line. We wind down to our 2-minute warning. Sean Miller making the tackle. So a 2-minute warning is upon us and a timeout here at the Coliseum. Here with the score, the Rams 10, the Raiders nothing, and no accident why the Rams are 2-0. They were 0-2 at the start of last year. Their defense looks terrific.
You know, and they're playing solid football. They're making sure they're not making any mistakes, both offensively and defensively, but I'm really impressed with the way their linebackers are controlling the game. They've got 5 guys that they like to play a lot, and the Raiders are really outmanned up front.
That's, as you mentioned, that's where Lachey might have done something for him. But second down and 15. Beuerlein with a design rollout being chased. Fires incomplete. And Irvin with a fine defensive play knocking the ball away from Willie Gault.
So a wonderful job by Leroy Irvin closing as the ball is in the air and making sure he doesn't interfere. This is oftentimes called, but that left hand comes in just at the right time to knock the ball away. And you notice his right arm did not wrap Willie up. That's where the call is usually made. It's always that backhand.
Tim Brown, Willie Gault, and James Lofton, the 3 wide receivers here. By the way, Kevin Green chased Beuerlein down. So pretty good bullet on that pass. Third down and 15 for the Raiders on their 27. And the pass is caught. Beuerlein with time hits James Lofton. A 27-yard gain and a first down into Ram territory at the 46. And a timeout called by the Raiders.
This is a wonderful throw. Look at the depth that the linebackers have, and Beuerlein doesn't have a whole big hole to throw that ball in there, but he did it, and Lofton makes the grab. Now what we'll see is how are the Raiders going to handle the last minute and 38 seconds here. They've had trouble at this part of the field.
There's Tim Brown.
Well, Tim Brown, we saw last year in the Cotton Bowl that somebody swiped his towel. He's going to make sure that nobody steals it this time. If I'm a defensive back, I see a guy running with a towel, I know he's not going to be the receiver on the play.
Now, if the guy had 2 towels in, you certainly wouldn't run to him. One in each
Maybe he
hand.
was bringing the towel to Lofton to congratulate him and towel him down.
The Raiders have 1 timeout remaining. And that's our time, 1:38. They have a first down on the 46. Keep in mind, Barr has missed field goals from 30 and 49 yards. So in order to get on the board, they're going to have to get pretty deep in the Ram territory.
And they showed a lack of confidence in Barr early in the game when they decided to go for the touchdown.
On the 46 of the Rams, first down. Beuerlein. Lofton, the intended receiver, and Johnny Johnson was covering. And Lofton slow getting up.
Big hit by Johnny Johnson on Lofton. This play was doomed from the start. Beuerlein didn't have a whole lot of pass protection. You even get a little grass in your helmet when you get hit that hard.
You know, people think those crossing patterns are the dangerous ones. This is also a tough one.
They call this the dead area of the football field, or the zone, and now you know why. You get hit like that, you may be dead.
The Raiders have used their last timeout. Another angle of the Johnson-Lofton collision. That sounds like an anchor team on the local news. But
Johnson anchored Lofton that time, that's for sure.
Lofton has caught 2 passes today for 55 yards. One early and just a little while ago, and now he is shaken up. Mervin Fernandez will replace him. Johnny Johnson, a hard hitter, as is Vince Newsom. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 46 of the Rams. No more timeouts for the Raiders, who trail 10-0. Beuerlein has some time. Leads to Allen, and he'll step out of bounds and stop the clock. With 1:26 to go, he is just a yard shy of the first down at the 37. Michael Stewart was there.
It really appeared that Allen could have got that first down as they work on Lofton on the sidelines, but he elected to step out of bounds, knowing that there's 3rd down coming up.
They are still well far away from any field goal possibility, so Beuerlein would have to really, just get the first down and hurry up and drill the ball and pass and get it close in with 1:26 to go with no timeouts left.
A lot of time left, though. They have a short field to work with.
Penalty marker down. We may have a legal procedure. Rory Graves, the left tackle, might have moved.
False start, number 60, offense. Still 3rd down.
Not only did Rory Graves move, but Beuerlein, knowing that the play is a quarterback draw, he moves a little bit early, too. There you see both of them Berline's a little anxious. He knew that his number was called. He wanted to get the ball and get that first down.
Ironically about Rory Graves, he was out of Ohio State and played tackle at Ohio State when Jim Lachey was a guard. How ironic things are. Now Graves is trying to fill a very big pair of shoes with Lachey going to Washington. 3rd down and 6 following the penalty on the 42 of the Rams. Berline will run it, and close to the first down. He may be shy. The clock continues to run. Michael Stewart on the stop. And now we'll have a officials timeout with 1:15 showing. John Robinson is yelling something, and he's on the field. You see him at the top of your picture. He must be the 12th man today for the Rams.
He's an involved coach. He is a coach that's very emotional, enjoys what he does for a living, and he's going to let the referee know exactly how he feels at all times.
He doesn't think he spotted it the right place. They're short of a first down by that much. It'll be 4th down with 1:15 to go.
This is an interesting call for the Raiders now. It's 4th down. If you don't make it, you give the ball back to the Rams in excellent field position with 1 minute and 15 seconds to go.
And 2 timeouts. 4th down and less than a yard. Berline with this quarterback sneak appears to have the first down to the 35. 1:07 showing right now, but they're going to start that clock pretty soon.
First down, Raiders.
It is a first down for the Raiders. They're lining up without a huddle. Now the clock starts. They're on the 35, and Berline will stop it right there. And a chance to get his bearings with 1:01 showing. 10-0 the Rams lead, and keep in mind, Barr has not shown the kicker's foot today, and you wonder whether Berline needs a touchdown to get any points for the Raiders. Lofton had his bell rung. They don't know when James will be back. Jim Everett went out earlier with a mild concussion, and he came back.
That's the problem with head injuries, concussions, is you don't really know when you're feeling okay again, because your mind is sending all different types of signals to the rest of your body.
2nd down 10. Berline. He's got Fernandez to the 15-yard line. Clock continues to run under a minute to go. A 15-yard pickup. Newsom and Gray defending on the play, and the Raiders rush to the line.
When he's got time to throw, Dick, he's throwing the ball well.
Berline on first down. Has Allen, and he's out of bounds at the 11-yard line to stop the clock. He only got 4 that time, but the clock grounds to a halt with 35 seconds to go. Michael Stewart defending.
And that's the most important thing at this time. It's not so much yardage, because you're almost guaranteed of at least 3 points with this type of field position. But now you've got 2 downs to work for the touchdown with passes. The other nice thing about this field position is, as a quarterback, if your man is covered, it's very small field to throw the ball away and avoid the interception.
Mike Shanahan having a rough start to his L.A. Raider career, even though he's 1-1 with all the injuries. But a chance to get back in the game. 2nd and 6 on the 11. Berline on the quarterback draw, and it fizzles. The clock stops at 30 seconds. Johnny Johnson and Mel Owens combine to wrap them up. Now they'll start it. It'll be 3rd down. Some of the fancy plays have fizzled for the Raiders today. The shuffle pass and the quarterback draw. Berline, incomplete. Golf, the intended receiver, and he's rushing things now.
Now, that's a tough play for Berline. He gets a quarterback draw play called. That this situation is not a good call. You got to throw the ball twice in the end zone if you're thinking about getting points. Now they're forced to kick a field goal, and we've seen what has happened with Chris Barr today.
He has missed from the 30 and the 49. This will be his best kick yard-wise. It'll be a 28-yard attempt. But on the year, he is 1 for 5. 19 seconds to go. Interesting that Tim Brown and Todd Christensen have not caught passes today. And Barr's kick is good. So the Raiders finally score.
15 seconds remaining in the first half of play.
And the Rams lead is cut to 10-3. Just 15 seconds remaining in the first half.
Bad play is called from the sideline. Coaches aren't always going to call good plays, but there's no way that they're going to get a touchdown out of Beuerlein running on a quarterback draw from inside the 15-yard line.
Chris Barr will kick off, and he's got Gaston Green and Robert Deltino back for the Rams. They kick it on the ground. And it's picked up by Mike McDonald, who played under John Robinson at USC and is their kick snapper. 9 seconds to go.
Mike McDonald's a great story. That's all he does, basically, is play on special teams. And the most important thing he does is that long snap. And Coach Robinson says he's the best he's ever seen doing that.
There's Jim Everett with 9 seconds to go. The ball is on the Rams 42. Pointed out that Tim Brown and Todd Christensen had not caught a pass, but Mervin Fernandez has caught 3 for 58, and he's had a big game.
And Lofton's looked good at catching a few over the middle also.
They have 3 wide receivers to the right. They're covered. Everett throws it away with no time left. And that'll do it. That is the end of the first half here at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum with the score, the LA Rams 10, the LA Raiders 3.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football.
Talk about lucky charms, Dan. John Robinson kind of brought one today.
Yeah, I think this is Dirty Pool. He brought the USC band. Not only did he bring the band, he brought the mascot, Traveler, too. I'm not sure Al Davis is too happy about this. There's Traveler.
Al Davis actually allowed this to happen.
Well, next week he's bringing the Syracuse band out here. I know that'll make you happy.
All right, so the USC band is out here, and the Rams have a lead, which satisfies John Robinson. And CBS Sports coverage of NFL football will continue after this message and a word from your local station. On a beautiful afternoon for football, the LA Rams and LA Raiders meeting for only the 6th time. And the Rams have a halftime lead of 10-3 as the Raiders scored on a field goal by Chris Barr just seconds before the first half came to a close. Looking at the halftime statistics, no surprise, Dan Fouts, that the Rams have rushed for 82 yards. That's their game, but passing yards, you thought that the Rams would pick on the Raiders secondary. Good passing yardage by the Raiders.
Beuerlein has played very well. When he's had the time, you can see he's thrown for 132 yards. I would expect to see more rushing, though, from the Rams. They have a 7-point lead. For John Robinson, many times that's enough.
And it'll be interesting to see what the Raiders do as far as their quarterback is concerned. And it's a very tough situation because Steve Beuerlein has played very well indeed. I mean, he has been under siege with very tough protection problems. And the question is, do you go with Jay Schrader or what? And maybe the game has something to do with it. So that's one of the things we're going to have to look for.
You really got to figure that Steve Beuerlein has played well, and I know the coach feels that, and he's got to feel a little guilty about his own play selection, especially down there towards the end of the first half when they called that quarterback draw. I'll leave that one live for now, but that one will always stick in my craw.
Let's take a look now at the comparison of the two quarterbacks. Everett, 6 for 10, 52 yards. John Robinson loves those numbers in attempts because it's a good percentage and he's run the ball. Beuerlein has thrown more, and his numbers look awfully impressive indeed. Keep in mind that Everett was knocked out for a while with a mild concussion, and Mark Herman capably replaced him, and as a matter of fact, the Rams got a field goal out of that.
And Herman completed all 3 of his attempts in that first half. Very capable backup. But the one thing about those stats for Everett is that's the way it's been all year for him. He's completed 65% of his attempts, but for only 6 yards per attempt, which NFL standards, that's not quite good enough. But the great thing the Rams have, of course, to fall back on is that outstanding rushing attack.
And Everett's become a leader in the 3rd year, completing 65% of his passes, and more a quarterback that the Rams feel that they can win with. James Lofton was one of the players who was shaken up in the first half. He had his bell rung. He looks like he's ready to go. He caught 2 passes. And Mervin Fernandez caught 3. He was the big wide receiver threat for the Raiders as Tim Brown and Todd Christensen were shut out in the first half. There's Fernandez out of the Canadian League, who the Raiders feel has a lot of potential. He hasn't delivered yet, but really hasn't had much of a chance to show what he could do.
They feel that he is one of the most underrated. Here's a guy that has had a fine career for the Raiders, and he's still kind of finding his way with this new offense. He's not the featured guy as he was before, but he still has the ability to get open, especially against man coverage. Todd Christensen.
Christensen caught 80 or more passes for 4 straight years, and now with all those threats they have on the team, he's maybe down on the totem pole a bit.
And you would think he would draw a lot of single coverage and be getting open more often, but that's not been the case.
Tim Brown is on the left and Vance Mueller on the right as Mike Lansford gets set to kick off to start the second half. And Jace Rader still has the baseball cap on the sideline. So Berline will be the man again. Lansford kicking off. And it's taken by Tim Brown. Runs into a crowd of white shirts and is stopped at the 26-yard line by Brett Farinez. So Tim Brown hasn't been able to run much and on the kick returns. Both teams have not been happy with their return and coverage clubs this year. I don't mean the return, because Brown's been covered.
But Lansford has got to get a lot of credit for the fact that Tim Brown hasn't had a good return yet. He is very good at placing his kickoffs and kicking away from dangerous people like Tim Brown.
1st and 10 at the 26 for the Raiders. Marcus Allen and Steve Smith are the setbacks. And it's Marcus Allen. Dives close to the 35-yard line. Vince Newsom, the strong safety on the stop. Marcus Allen gained 16 yards on 5 carries. In the first half, his longest gain was 5 yards.
He's so dangerous, though. You can never relax when you've got a player on that other side of the ball like a Marcus Allen.
He gained 8 yards on that play, 2nd down and 2, so that was his longest rush from scrimmage. Ball at the Raiders 34. Let's see if the stutter count forced the Rams to go offside. Allen carries it out and would have the first down. Let's see what the penalty is all about. Dick Jorgensen is our official today. Alvin Wright made the tackle. And that stutter count, which you heard, effectively.
Offside, number 99,
Alvin
defense, decline.
They decline it, and it's the first down for the Raiders.
That's got to drive defensive coaches crazy. Alvin Wright is the nose tackle. He's the closest man on the entire defense to the ball. It's right under his nose.
And for that, Mr. Wright will have to leave the field.
Yeah, they're coming in with Gary Jeter and looks like Fred Stokes to play in some of that little Eagle defense that they used a lot in the first quarter, but not much towards the end of the first half.
2 down linemen and 5 backwards, but they're all on the line, most of them. 1st and 10. Steve Smith fumbles. And let's see, the Raiders have recovered. And coming out of the pack with it is James Lofton. A big gain and a fumble, and altogether a 40-yard pickup for the Raiders. And I'll tell you, they would have been really depressed if they had lost the ball on this play.
Are we down under? Is this Australian rules football? This ball is crazy. Watch this ball bounce around for looks like about 20 yards or so. Jerry Gray had a shot at it. Leroy Irvin had a shot at it, and it just kicks over to James Lofton. Very heads up by Lofton.
Well, if he can't move the ball, see if he can fumble and advance it. I think there's a rule about it.
The Raiders have done that well in the past, believe me.
Against your Chargers. 1st and 10 on the 21. Raiders trail 10-3. And Charlie Hanna might have jumped off sides for...
Start, number 73, offense, still first down.
That's tough getting a penalty when you got the momentum going for your side for maybe the first time in the game.
The entire game, the Raiders, each time they've moved the ball down this part of the field, they make some type of mistake. There's Charlie, number 73, at left guard there, and he steps down a little bit too early.
Penalty story, and the Raiders have borne the blunt of it so far, and the brunt of it, if you want to say. 1st down and 15.
That's easy for you to say, but not only have we had a lot of penalties against the Raiders, but they've also not been able to protect the quarterback in this part of the field. We've had a couple of big sacks.
First and 15, back to the 26 of the Rams. On the delay, Marcus Allen, and a penalty marker is down at the 23-yard line. Let's see if we have another holding call. And we do against the Raiders. They're self-destructing every time they have a chance to score in this game, it appears, or a touchdown.
Just a little over-anxious, trying too hard maybe. They're just working as hard as they can down there, but continue to make mistakes that hurt them.
Holding, number 60, offense, 10 yards, still first down.
Rory Graves, once again, he's having a rough afternoon. This is his third year. He'd been at Seattle. He's on the left side.
Oh, he just uses that right arm for leverage, and then Green beats him back into the inside, and there goes the flag. This must drive Al Davis just absolutely crazy. He loves to score a lot of points, but each time his team's gotten down to this field position, they haven't been able to get many.
First and 25. Back to the 36-yard line. They're going backwards, the Raiders, trailing 10-3. Berline has Christensen, his first catch of the game, to the tight end. He's down at the 31, a gain of only 5. Carl Eckern and Vince Newsom on the stop. That'll bring up 3rd and long for the Raiders.
Good pass protection as the Rams are in a zone defense. Christensen's on just a little bit of a delay route. The unfortunate thing is they'd only picked up about 5 yards. They're still faced with 2nd and about 20.
Raiders had penetrated to the 21. They got 21 yards on the run by Smith and 19 more on the fumble yardage. But since then, they've gone in reverse. 2nd and 20 at the 30. Berline with time. Wide open is Marcus Allen. Touchdown. Piece of cake, right?
Well, like you said, he had plenty of time, and when you get time to throw, it's amazing how simple the game becomes. Marcus Allen never quit on his pass route. He beat Mike Wilcher for the touchdown.
And now Chris Barr with a chance to tie the game. Marcus Allen with his first touchdown reception of the year and the 75th of his tremendous career, and Barr's kick is up. It's good. And this crowd, you got to have some Ram fans here, but most of them are Raider supporters, as you might expect. Here it is, wide open, Marcus Allen. The LA Raiders have tied up the LA Rams 10-10. And if Steve Berline wants to keep Jay Schrader at bay, this is the way to do it. A 30-yard pass to Marcus Allen to tie the game. Chris Barr kicking off. And Gaston Green at the goal line returns for the Rams. Green stumbles forward to the 24-yard line. Well, next Saturday, the college football season continues on CBS Sports. 6th-ranked Auburn goes against the Tennessee Volunteers in an SEC matchup.
Auburn's now 2-0. They beat Kansas yesterday, 56-7.
Tough SEC games, and we'll have it for you. Auburn, tough indeed. Bo Jackson, of course, Auburn star, will be joining the Raiders in a few weeks.
A lot of great running backs have come out of Auburn, and Bo may be the best of all of them.
First down, Rams on the 24. Greg Bell and Buford McGee, the running back. New ball game here at the Coliseum. Bell. The offensive line of the Rams is pushing back the Raiders because Bell had 3 or 4 yards to begin with. Eddie Anderson and Jerry Robinson on the stop. That's what Bell's done today, including scoring the Rams' only touchdown.
Well, Matt Miller's a little slow getting up. Got dinged a little bit. But you see the Rams, they're going to come right back to what they want to do, and that's run the ball with Greg Bell. They didn't run it very much in the second quarter. It looks like they have a mindset right now to do just what they feel it's their strong point.
2nd and 7. Everett. He was going for Henry Ellard, incomplete, and Mike Haynes covering on the play. Bring up to date on the scores. Many of them finals. A big day for Tommy Kramer. Dan Marino finally got on track.
Well, you knew that was going to happen. There's no way you can stop Dan Marino all year.
Largest victory margin in Jet history against the Houston Oilers. Cincinnati wins as well. New Orleans with another struggle. Second week in a row, but they won, and that's the main thing. It'll be 3rd and 7 now for the Rams on their own 27. Everett. Incomplete. He was going for Aaron Potts. Buford McGee out of the backfield. And Everett didn't take a deep drop there, and the Raiders put good pressure on him.
Very predictable pass pattern. Again, they're being very conservative with their pass offense, and the momentum has definitely shifted to the Raiders side of the ball.
Atlanta with the big shocker over the 49ers. Meanwhile, Tim Brown goes back to his 35. Rich Camarillo, who has punted well in the few times he has kicked today for the Rams, gets off another good one. He sends Brown back to the 25. And Brown up to the 35-yard line. The Rams kick coverage teams have improved dramatically. That was a 48-yard kick by Camarillo as Stewart and Washington combined to bring Tim Brown down.
That touchdown pass by Steve Berline to Marcus Allen has really given this Raider team a great lift. Interesting, talking with Berline earlier in the week, is he knows the situation with Schrader is out of his hands, and he feels that for the betterment of this ball club, he's going to have to just make it as difficult as possible for the coaches to replace him. In other words, he's going to have to play awfully well.
1st and 10 on the 35. Raiders with the ball in their own zone. High score. Marcus Allen slices off tackle and dives forward close to the 40-yard line. Vince Newsom and Doug Reed combined to make the stop. The Rams, coming into this game, had allowed an average of only 8.5 points in the first 2 games. They've given up 10, which is pretty good still, but we have a lot of time remaining. 10 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
This is really a step up for the Rams, so as far as their schedule is concerned. They opened up with Green Bay and Detroit. Now they're playing a fine football team in the LA Raiders.
2nd down and 6 on the 39. Allen, second effort, has the 1st down to the 45. He lost his footing, but not before he got to the 1st down at the 45. Giroux and Newsom making the stop. What a talented runner Marcus Allen is.
Never gives up, always struggling for an extra yard. And this is not as easy as it may seem. I mean, he goes down almost twice. He's running on 3 legs there, really, his right arm.
Bill Lewis, the center, is shaken up.
Boy, when it rains, it pours, and it's pouring right now on the offensive line of the Los Angeles Raiders. This injury is really a big one.
They weren't always. Marcus Allen and John Robinson.
John Robinson, he told us yesterday, it's not so much coming back to the SC campus or coming back to the LA Coliseum. It's coming back and seeing players that he has coached and has followed throughout his career. People like Marcus Allen. Number of Trojans on both teams here today. And John would love to have been able to coach Marcus in the pros. John Giesick is now the center for the Raiders on 1st and 10. Raiders on their 45, double tight end. Allen gets back to the line of scrimmage. Doug Reed on the stop. The report on Bill Lewis, he has a sprained ankle, and we're not sure whether he will return. There is Lewis. And Giesick, the 10th round pick last year, starting at center. We have a Ram shaken up right now, and it's their nose tackle, Alvin Wright. He bruised his knee in the 1st half, and now Bill Lewis has come back in the game for the Raiders. That's important that Lewis is back in there because the Raiders have already lost Don Mosbar and Brian Holloway, 2 of their top offensive linemen, not to mention the fact that Jim Lachey is now in Washington.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and right now, while we have a moment, let's check in with Brent Musburger for an NFL Today report. Brent, what do you have?
The man who inspired Fridge Mania does it again. Guy McIntyre, tackle eligible for the 49ers. Great hands on the Joe Montana pass. Then he blasts his way into the end zone. And it is 24-10 as the 49ers try to battle back against Atlanta. Back to Dick.
All right, Brennan, I guess, Dan, you never can count the 49ers out of any game. Wright is up right now and 24-10 in the Atlanta contest. And
Well, Bill Walsh has a lot of tricks in his bag. Obviously, he's pulling them all out today. Something you got to do when you're losing by that score.
see what happened to Wright here.
He's right in the center of our screen. He's the nose tackle, number 99, and he is going to get bent over backwards. And this is, right there. Psychologically, that may hurt more than the actual injury because of the fact that, hey, this could be a serious knee injury. He appears to be walking fine. That's a good sign for the Rams.
We talk about the Raider offensive line problems, but the Rams don't have Greg Meisner, who normally is their regular nose tackle. He has a knee injury, and he was inactive for both last week's game and this week, and Meisner hasn't played, and now Wright, their other nose tackle, goes down.
They may be forced to play some more of that linebacker defense, the Eagle.
2nd and 10 at the 45. There's Marcus Allen, split to the right, lower part of the picture. Quick toss. Christensen to the 49-yard line. Short of a first down by about 4 yards. Newsome on the play. We're at the L.A. Memorial Coliseum as the Raiders and Rams, and the bragging rights, you want to call it, in the Battle of L.A. The Rams, of course, playing Anaheim in Orange County. We have a tie ball game, 10-10 with 8 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The Rams have taken a 10-0 lead.
The Raiders haven't filled the stadium up many times. It's great to see all these people filling this great old stadium.
3rd and 4 for the Raiders at the Ram 49. Berline is sacked by Jeter, and that's number 3 for Gary on the day.
Berline wanted to go to Marcus Allen on a little option route coming out of the backfield on the right here, number 32, but Vince Newsome has got him man-to-man, and Allen slips, and there's no place for Berline to go with the ball. Plus, he's got a big number 77 wrapping him up.
That's the 4th sack of the game for 42 yards by the Ram defense. Jeff Gossick goes back. Henry Ellard to receive the kick. Lets it bounce, and it takes a Raider roll right at the 20-yard line. And that's where the Rams will take over a 39-yard kick. Well, next Sunday, CBS Sports presents an NFL doubleheader beginning with the NFL Today. In Game 1, the Chicago Bears against the Green Bay Packers. Everyone was going to town on the Bears. They lost today to the Vikings in a big way, and Green Bay struggling.
That's a tough place to play for the Bears, too. If the Green Bay Packers get up for any game, and the city of Green Bay gets up for any game, it's when the Bears come to town.
And most of you will see the Rams at Giants in the second half of the doubleheader. Check your local listing. Everett on first down. Ellard and Dennis Price lost his footing. I don't know whether he was faked out by Ellard. In any event, Henry has the catch. Good for 16 yards and a first down to the 35.
As they say in horse racing, the track is dry and fast. He got juked there. That's why he lost his footing. The field's in excellent condition. It's interesting that the Rams are going back to take advantage of the inexperience of Dennis Price with their best receiver, Henry Ellard.
This is Price's first NFL start. Terry McDaniel, their number 1 pick, is out with a broken leg. 1st and 10 on the 35, Rams. Greg Bell gets 1, and that's all. Howie Long, we haven't mentioned his name much today, makes the stop.
Matt Millen's back in the game, so the Raiders are playing hurt a little bit, but they also know that they're in this ball game. This game is going to come down to a turnover, Dick. I just feel it in my bones that the team that makes the big play is going to win this one.
You know, I feel it in my bones, too, now that you mention it.
Yeah, but your bones haven't been hit as much as mine.
That's the first tackle of the game by Howie Long. Greg Townsend comes in as a pass rusher. 2nd and 8 on the 37. Everett on the run, and Ellard makes a great pass to midfield. Price on the stop. He got turned around, and a 13-yard gainer to Henry Ellard, who has been actually in a slump lately.
This is teamwork. This is a great throw by Everett and a great catch by Ellard as he reaches behind himself and makes the grab. Single coverage, though. Dennis Price, the man beaten again.
Ellard now has caught 5 passes for 71 yards. He's been slowed with an ankle injury and has been in a slump. He's come out of it. First and 10 midfield. Everett going up top. And the man he was going for was Willie Anderson, the rookie from UCLA. He has the best deep threat, according to John Robinson, of all of his receivers.
And he may have the strangest nickname in the NFL, Flipper Anderson. We asked him how he got that. It had something to do with the way he cried as a baby. He sounded a little bit like a baby dolphin from the television show Flipper.
Tough way to get a nickname.
That's a tough one to live down. You know, when you're playing football, now, you can't be having a nickname like Flipper because you sound like a dolphin. When you play for the Rams, I'm confused.
Leroy Irvin has a calf strain. We don't know if he'll be back. Second down, 10 at midfield. And once again, Greg Bell and Dan, the Raiders have really closed up against the run in the last quarter or so.
They really have. They're a team that really will accept the challenge. The Rams challenged them in the first quarter when they went 80 yards for a touchdown in about 11 plays. They're not going to let that happen again. For the Rams to be successful, they're going to have to hit some of those long passes.
Rams led 10-0. Greg Bell with a 6-yard touchdown, a Lansford 37-yard field goal. Then in the second quarter, Barr kicked the field goal, and then Allen was on the receiving end of a 30-yard touchdown for the Raiders to tie it up. Third and 10 at midfield. 3 wide receivers for the Rams. Everett will have the first down as he scampers out of bounds at the 36-yard line. 14 yards on that play.
The Raiders are in a man-to-man defense right now, so Everett sees it. And when the defense is in that type of situation, there's nobody that can actually see the quarterback when he breaks out of the pocket as far as the defense is concerned. And Everett saw those down markers, and he ran right for him.
Even with that run, the Rams' rushing story in the first quarter, they had 69 yards. Since then, only 32. First down, Rams on the Raider 36. We're tied at 10. Everett swings it out to Bell, and Millen tries for the interception. Milt McCall put quite a rush on Jim Everett, and it'll go as an incomplete pass. There is Alvin Wright. Bruised, they said. And he'll return. He was bent over backwards, you saw a few moments ago, but
this is turning into a bit of a war, Dick. A lot of injuries, a lot of guys playing with a lot of little dings and whatever. They're going to have to use everybody today, both sides.
War of attrition, basically.
Yes, it is. That's the name of the game sometimes.
Ron Fellows has replaced Dennis Price, the cornerback for the Raiders, on 2nd and 10. Everett up the middle, and a great tackle. Buford McGee might have been off to the races, but Milt McCall made an open field tackle at the 30-yard line for the Raiders.
Everett's nice touch on this ball. It helps out when you're about 6'5" like Jim is. He put that ball right in front of Buford. Buford has good hands, played with him with the Chargers. In fact, I told John Robinson now that you have Buford McGee and Mark Herman, you got Ernie Zampese. What are you, the Chargers are your farm team or something?
Well, yesterday in practice, I think one of the coaches said, Dan, why don't you suit up and come out and play?
I got a job, Dick. Believe it or not, this is it.
3rd and 4 at the 30-yard line of the Raiders. Everett under siege and down back at the 40. Greg Townsend. Loss of 10 yards. Townsend, with a big game in the opener against San Diego, was nullified by Houston's running back. Comes in with a big sack right here. And that'll force the Rams to punt.
And it takes them out of field goal position, possible field goal position at least, when you lose 10 yards on a sack like that.
Tim Brown goes deep. Rich Camarillo will kick for the Rams with 3 minutes and 54 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Brown will call for the fair catch. And the Rams will keep it in play. Michael Stewart, number 23, and the Raiders will be hemmed in at their own 2-yard line when we return. wonder, should have Tim Brown caught this ball instead of letting it go?
Well, it bounced on about the 6-yard line. Most coaches will tell their receiver there to let it go if it's going to go inside the 10. That was just a very fortunate bounce for the Rams and an unfortunate bounce for the Raiders.
And Mickey Sutton is in for Leroy Irvin, who is out with the calf sprain. 1st and 10 on the 2 for Berline and the Raiders. Berline wants to get out in a hurry, and a penalty marker is down, and the pass is incomplete. James Lofton covered by Sutton downfield, but a flag is down.
I gotta wonder, Dick, if I've got Willie Galt on one side and James Lofton on the other, and they bring in a cornerback right off the bench, I think I'm gonna have Willie Galt run that fly pattern against him, and not James Lofton.
That's why you have Galt. Meanwhile, holding called against the Raiders, half the distance to the goal line.
Guarantee you they'll refuse this. They're not going to gain much by taking it.
No, they won't. The average starting position for the Raiders today has been their own 37-yard line. That's not bad field position for Mike Shanahan. This obviously is worse starting spot.
Holding number 46, offense, decline.
Todd Christensen.
2nd down.
That's the 4th holding penalty called against the Raiders today.
That is not a smart penalty either, if there's such a thing. You see Todd at the far left, number 46. Well, he's trying to protect his quarterback. Maybe this was a smart penalty.
You're looking at 2 points.
And those 2 points could be big.
2nd down, 10 on the 2. Marcus Allen fumbles, and Christensen recovers, I believe, for the Raiders.